Hello friends. Today I'm going to attempt to do the Q&A video that I keep talking to y'all about. So I decided to start my day over at Once Upon a Child. So I've already dropped my bin off. Then I went over to Starbucks, got myself a little treat. So shout out to Shannon for buying me this coffee. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying your spring break. While I was in Once Upon a Child, I shopped around just a little bit because I do have a $10 off coupon today. So I love to find something free or close to free that I can then flip on eBay. So let me show you what I got. So I found these bogs. You can see they were only priced at $8.50. Normally they price bogs at $16. So these, because they wrote boots instead of bogs, they just price them differently, which is great for me. I think I can sell these on eBay for $30 to $40. So that's great. So yeah. $8.50, but technically free to me. And then sometimes I'll just like forfeit the excess of the coupon, like, you know, $8.50, I would just lose the $1.50. But today I'm like, well, let me just go. I went to my son's size to just see if I could find him a shirt for a few bucks, which I did. So this is for Connor, just a Nike shirt, and this was $4.50. But as I was looking for this, I found something else that I was like, oh, I could sell that. So I guess technically I paid the $4.50 out of pocket now for Connor's shirt, which is still a great deal for him. And then this is what I found to resell. If you guys don't know what this is, the 2 H's is Helly Hansen. And so you can see this was priced at $7.50. So for my 2 items that I'm going to sell, I paid basically $6 out of pocket. So $3 each. I would have paid that at a thrift store for sure. So I'm very happy with that. This will probably also sell for $30 to $40. So essentially 6 into 60 to 70 probably. And then yeah, that's the full words in case you've never heard of Helly Hansen. I would consider it a pretty good brand to look out for. All right, all of my questions are on my phone. So let me pause real quick, find one, and then we will get going on some questions. Okay, first question's kind of a two-parter. So the first part was, do I know how much I have invested into my current inventory, like listed and unlisted items that I have at my house? And second part was, how am I keeping up with the videos now that I'm doing it on my own? So for the amount of inventory I have at my house, I don't know an exact number because of the way that we do our bookkeeping. We do not keep track of each individual item anymore. It's more of an overall expense per month type thing. So, and like you guys know the way I like to do it, and I'm a primarily bin shopper still. So I'll go to the bins, get my huge hauls, and then I will bring stuff to the buy sell trade stores like today. And it's almost always to where I'm like either made more already than I spent on the bins haul or very close to breaking even on a bins haul. So I truly believe like the stuff that I'm listing on eBay and Posh is almost free, in which case that it's basically all profit when it sells. I do shop sometimes at the regular thrifts as well, but it's just not a lot. So I think I have between 21 to 2,200 items currently active listings on eBay and Posh. And I would say maybe 200 to 300 are like items I bought at regular thrift stores. And those could have been anywhere from like, you know, $5, $10 max probably. So yeah, I don't know the exact number, but I don't think it's a whole lot, honestly. I would, if I had to put a number on it, I would probably say I'm maybe $5,000 max out of pocket into what I have currently at my house, including all the death pile items, which is probably a few hundred. As far as the videos, I think I've actually been doing well keeping up, like honestly even better than when me and Chris were doing it together, because I'm starting to really understand what it takes to like get the videos put together. Previously, if you guys didn't know, I had no idea how to edit anything. Maybe a year or two ago, I just started trying to make shorts, like the reels and short form content on my own. So I've been using CapCut to do that. And you know, I didn't feel like I was great at it or anything, but making like a minute video here and there has been something that I've been learning. I didn't realize I could do these long form videos on the same app. So once I realized that, it's been not too hard, because so the thing of when me and Chris are doing it together, it's like one or the other of us is kind of like always waiting on the other person. And now that I'm just doing it on my own, I'm already in the zone. I'm doing what I'm already doing for the day. I'm just kind of recording little bits and pieces here and there and putting it all together. Whereas Chris would, you know, I would tell him, you know, what I'm doing for the day, and he'll come up with the idea of like how to make it into a video. But then like, since I wasn't being the editor of the video, I had no idea what that meant really. And so, I don't know, it just got kind of frustrating. And, you know, I always mention I'm impatient. So just like waiting for him to film a certain way that he's thinking, whereas I'm thinking of it completely different. So, I think I'm doing good at it. I mean, good as in like, I'm learning a lot and I'm getting faster at it as time goes on. A lot of the videos I do are the same, like the what solds, the bins hauls, things like that are super easy to edit. Like it's mostly just 1 or 2 straight clips, put them together, add some screenshots in, and super easy. The ones that take a little bit more editing on my part are like when I go out and about thrifting, I have to a lot of times do voiceovers just because the music in the thrift stores are really loud, and that would not be allowed by YouTube to have like real music playing in the background. So those ones are a little bit trickier and take a little bit longer, but those ones I kind of just do in the evenings. If we're watching a show or something, I'll just start editing those. But for the most part, like kind of when I was doing my work with me last week, like I said, I went for my walk and I started editing the video. So basically I'm just doing it as I do my day. As soon as I have a clip, I'll put it into CapCut. As soon as I have the next part of it, I'll put it into CapCut, and just instead of like waiting for the whole day to be over and then like trying to filter through all of the clips, I just kind of put them in as the day is going so that I don't get overwhelmed or confused, and that it all kind of makes sense in order. So that is the answer for those ones. Next question is, they would love to know my pricing strategy. So I honestly don't know if I have an actual strategy. So I do price differently on eBay and Poshmark. So I guess I have a strategy. On eBay, I do usually look up a comp as I'm listing, and then I always have a sale running anywhere from usually like 15 to 25 or so % off of my list price. So if I see a comp says it should sell around 20 bucks, I'm going to price my item at 25, just so that once it drops into my sale, it's right about that actual comp price, around 20 bucks. And then anytime I get a new watcher on eBay, like I go into my eBay app like 20 times a day. Every time I have a new watcher on anything, I send them an offer, usually another 10 to 20%, just depending on how long I've had the item and stuff like that. So I guess that's my strategy for eBay. And then Poshmark, I guess my strategy, I don't even know. I price way high on Poshmark usually because people offer so low. Like even when I feel like I was pricing more at actual market value, people would still offer 50% off. So for the most part, I want to say at least, I think 30% over what I expect to get for the item. So, you know, we use Posture VA that shares my closet and sends offers all day long. And so I have Posture VA set up to do 20% off anytime somebody likes an item. So I at least price 20% over to account for that. On the weekends, I usually send at least 30% off. So I pretty much do have that also built into my price. And then occasionally, if I really want to have a bigger sales weekend, I'll do 40 or 50% off. When I'm getting most of my items from the bins, anything is profit. So, you know, my strategy is to just move things. And sometimes you guys see me sell stuff for 8 to 10 bucks. And hey, I'm still making profit and I'm still moving things. So keeping that cash flow going. So yeah, I guess that's my strategy. Just kind of doing various things. I think sending offers is kind of like my biggest strategy, just because that makes them feel like they're getting a deal. At least I think so. When I'm shopping on Posh or eBay, if I like an item and then get an offer, I'm more likely to buy it than if I just like the item, even if I think it's a good price already. If they don't send me an additional offer, I usually don't buy it. So yeah, that is my pricing strategy for that one. Next question is, how many items do I list daily? And I always answer this question by saying I list 100 items per week. So I don't necessarily have a daily goal. In a perfect world, I would list 20 items Monday through Friday, but it just doesn't always work out that way with my schedule and just not knowing. Sometimes a kid is sick and I can't get any up, things like that. So basically, like for example, this week on Monday I did 10, on Tuesday I did 15, on Wednesday I did 25. So I'm at 50 for the week right now. It's Thursday right now. I haven't done any yet. I probably will hope to get at least 20 or 25 up at some point. But yeah, so I basically just shoot for 100 items per week, and I almost always hit that. Sometimes even do a little bit more, but yeah, I just fit as many listings in as I can whenever I can. I thankfully do have a draft bank at this point. That is something that I worked really hard to get. I think I've had one since at least last summer. So draft bank as in where I photograph more than I'm actually listing per week. So that way on days where I can't photograph anything or I'm just super busy for one reason or another, I can just be listing from the ones I already have. So I showed you guys my bins in my basement, the ones that I say are in that corner but not actually listed. That's my draft bank. So then once I do list from those, I'll go pull them out and start putting them away into inventory. All right, this one is how much inventory do I have, and do I strive for a certain size store or just whatever I find? So I think I mentioned I have around 21 to 2200 items currently active on eBay and Poshmark. It was a while where I was trying to hit that 2000. Like I just wanted to have 2000 active listings. I think I hit that around last summertime. And so since then, like I said, I list 100 items per week, but even still, I've only grown my store another 1 to 200 items per, like in almost a whole year, just because of how much I list versus how much I sell. I think I was thinking if I had around 2,000 items active, I would sell approximately 20 a day. I don't think I'm quite there. I think I'm closer to the 15 mark per day. So I don't think I strive for a certain amount of a store, I guess, but the way that I do my business model is just the more actives I have, the more I'm going to sell every single day. And since like it's all bins and super low cost of goods, it's okay to be sitting on it, in my opinion. And then when I really, really want to make either more money or more sales, I can just turn my eBay store on a 50% off sale if I want, and I will move out a lot of inventory at once. So yeah, I don't know, you know, right now we're still in the basement. We do still want to do a shed at some point, but it's probably not going to be this year or anything. So while we're in the basement right now, it's already getting kind of full, so I don't know that I'd want to have much more than the 2,000-ish that I currently have active. I kind of want to just stick with what I'm doing for now. If we have the shed and more space, I'm happy to have bigger store, even though, you know, like it'd be cool to have around 3,000 actives at some point. So yeah. All right, I did just see a text come in from Once Upon a Child that they're done with my buy. So let me go in here, see how much they're going to give me today. And then I did also, when I was looking through the questions, I wanted to say there are some that are tax related, and I don't think I'm going to be able to answer those ones at all. So I guess what I would say about that is just check with your accountant. Everybody's tax situation is so different, just depending on all the factors of your life. So yeah, I could not answer any of those ones for you. And then a lot of them are about Chris. So let me go in here to Once Upon a Child, get my payout. We'll head home. I have some work to do there between answering some more questions. And I think Chris is at home actually. I think he might be listing some stuff in his own eBay store today. So we'll see if he'll let me ask him a few questions on the camera.
Say you're wearing that very cute item here. I loved your toys. $117.24 if you're comfortable.
Awesome. All right, not sure if that audio came out, but I was given $117.24, I believe, for 55 items. Here is what they passed on. So this one is new, and it is still sealed. So I'm honestly not sure why they passed on that. I might try it one more time. Otherwise, that's a great consignment item. These ones I did already look, and I'm pretty sure they've told me before it has to be in less than 10 years, like games. So you can see here, this says 2013. I had not noticed that before, so it's just a little bit over the 10-year mark. So I'll either see if my kids want that, or that's another good consignment item. And same with Battleship. This said 2014 on it, I believe. So oops. But yeah, I still probably would have picked those up at the bins, because why not? Like, they don't weigh much, and well, 69 cents for games. Even if my kids play them one time, I think that was worth it. And then just a couple of the clothing items. These are so cute. I don't know why they passed on these. So I might put these back in there another time. This is a Gerber onesie. They do take Gerber now, but sometimes they pass. I don't know why. This is in very good condition. I might try it one more time. This is that Shein little skirt. I don't think they've ever passed on any of my Shein before, but that's okay. Yeah, I'll try it one more time, and then any of these that don't get taken a second time, I will just put straight in my consignment bin. This is Carter's. This one I think might just be a little bit more washwear than they like, so that's okay. But yeah, I'm very happy with what they accepted today. Hey guys,
hey,
I'm back home and Chris is here. He was actually, here's his little eBay setup. He was photographing some stuff for his store.
Yeah.
I want to show you guys these shells. You remember I was like trying to pay for these with the Once Upon a Child money a few months ago. So finally got them all set up and he's getting everything organized, which a lot of this stuff was stuff he needed to list anyway. So
yeah, this is more just like I got stuff out and on the shelf. So nothing's really organized yet, but I spent, I don't know, probably a few days just trying to get this kind of usable.
Yeah, I noticed you were cleaning. He has a couch that we're going to be bringing down here, so he was cleaning that the last couple days.
We have this, you know, I like old video games, so it's my collection, but I've got these old TVs that are really heavy, and modern furniture doesn't really hold them, so I haven't found anything to put the TV on yet. The couch will go here, and then it'll be my little game room.
Yeah. So
this was the background of like all the live videos, which always just looked like a mess and never really got taken care of, so trying to get this a little bit more fun, but yeah, temporary eBay setup. I just photographed some games and stuff. And you said you had some questions, right?
Yeah, some people. I'm doing a Q&A video today, and a lot of the questions have to do with what's Chris up to. So,
not much.
Yeah,
no.
Basically, what are you up to, and have you made any progress on your goals since stopping YouTube with me?
Well, the short answer is not really, because you know, when we pulled away from YouTube and I did this a little bit just to kind of get my mind off, and you know, something I wanted to do for a long time. And then like car broke down, another car broke down. So like, it's just like almost everything just kind of piled on. Took care of a few cars. We still have one that's not really operational, but we've got
my favorite one.
Yeah, we've kind of put that off because we have a big trip that we're working on for this summer and to Disneyland, and taking the boys to a Taekwondo competition and all that. So just trying to make sure that we're able to go on that. So, but yeah, I have not been able to work on the bus because of that stuff. And then tax season took up a bit of my time, and something else. What was it?
You fixed the washer at the rental.
Yeah, that's right. We had emergency, not really emergency, but situation at the rental property had to take care of. So, you know, that's usually anything that like needs to happen at the drop of a hat, you know, that's what I get pulled away doing. So, yeah.
But if you didn't, then we would spend a lot of money paying someone else.
That's true. So,
yeah. So, and then the schoolie, people wanted to know about the schoolie. I know the answer. You haven't got a chance to work on it yet.
And really, I have done some work in the garage, trying to get my garage cleaned up because I need a workspace to do that. And it's been winter. You know, like we're just now coming out of the snow. It actually almost snowed yesterday.
I know. It's been chilly again.
Raining and stuff, but we're having 80-degree days and snow days, which is crazy. But I should be able to work on the schoolie soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully no other, I don't have any wood to knock on, but hopefully no other emergencies come up. But I'm hoping by the summer I'll be cruising on the schoolie, getting some content out on that. But that's pretty much it. I mean, this is like all the stuff. I feel like all the stuff was crashing down, like all the stuff, emergencies that I've been working on were because we were spending a lot of time on YouTube together. And Kathy, you know, this is how she's been doing videos lately. It wasn't really the plan, but you've kind of flourished and you've done really well on her own. She's done all these videos on her own, which has freed me up to take care of the emergencies and stuff. So
And I'm learning a lot doing it. So
Yeah.
And then here's Reese. People have been asking about Reese also. He makes an appearance from time to time, but
He's a good boy.
yeah, he's so old. He's probably,
Yes, he
I always
turns-
forget. We say 16. I feel like he's 15 or 16.
I think he's
so.
turning 16 in July.
Yeah.
So
He basically, it's actually our anniversary is this Saturday, which I don't know when you guys are seeing this video, but probably would have passed by then. But yeah, it's our 17th
17
anniversary.
years.
So we've had Reese basically just after we got married. So
yeah.
all right, well, I'm going to let Chris get back to work, and this is what I need to work on next. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little fast motion video of me putting away all this inventory, and then I will pop back in with a few more questions. All right, I got all those put away, and then I picked out the 25 I'm going to list hopefully today, and put them in that Hulkin. So once they are at least typed out, I can then put those away easily instead of having to dig through the bins to find them. So let's go ahead and do a few more questions. All right, this one says, my questions are, how much of a death pile do you accumulate before you force yourself to hunker down and get it listed? How big is your death pile currently? Yeah, so I don't know how big my death pile is currently. That would actually be an interesting video probably to count them up. I remember Amber Resells did a video kind of like counting, I think, what she hadn't listed yet. And so, yeah, I always thought I should do it, but I haven't actually done it. Without knowing, I would guess around I would probably say I have like 300 items that are just sitting around somewhere unlisted, not including what's already down here in my draft bank, but just things that are either in the garage, in a bin, not photographed. I have a lot of stuff hanging in my guest room closet. Those are just like things that had small flaws. Honestly, I really need to get to those. So to answer your first question, how much of a death pile do you accumulate before you force yourself to hunker down? That one, I think it's just when I start like feeling like, oh my gosh, there's too much, like I'm a hoarder or something. So either when piles start becoming too much, or when the bins in the garage, there's no more space, which right now I'm actually pretty happy with where I'm at. Like, I don't want to have a zero death pile. Like, I want to have things where I can just grab a bin any given time and have 20, 30 items to list easily. So, you know, I always want to have probably at least an extra 100 on hand. I would like to get through some of that in the guest room though. My guest room is kind of where I've been putting all the stuff that I said I'm keeping for the consignment sale in the fall too. And as of right now, it's not organized at all. I should probably show you guys so that I'll actually get to work on it. But right now it's super embarrassing. There's bins kind of all over the room. I need to organize the bins, and then I need to see what's actually hanging in that closet and get them listed. So I don't know if I have a hard and fast rule about it, but honestly, it's just like a feeling that I get when I feel like, okay, there's too much. I don't need this much excess. Then I'll start like getting through some of them, which, you know, when I get on a roll, I can just keep going and going. Next question. Do you ever accidentally sell an item and it does not delist off the other platform? Also, do you use a cross-listing program that will auto delist items for you? I do use a program. However, in the beginning, I did not realize if an item sold on eBay, but there is an active offer on Posh, that item would not auto delist. So, do I accidentally sell an item? Yes. So I definitely do this from time to time. So I use List Perfectly, which does now have auto delist. However, sometimes I'm messing up the inventory numbers on List Perfectly because I'll do eBay sell similars and then I won't go back and change and update the numbers. That's just, to me, it's a waste of time. And then I use Posh VA, which auto relists items every day. So then that changes the number in List Perfectly as well. So I just know in my head, whenever an item sells, I'm going to go delist it myself. So I personally don't use the auto delist feature, even though it exists. So from time to time, I will have forgotten to take one down, and then this happens, and it's always a bummer. yeah, on eBay, if you cancel too many orders, you're going to go below standard. Thankfully, I've canceled a couple, but not enough to put me below standard. Sometimes if I'm getting close, I will message the buyer, apologize, ask them if they want me to cancel or if they want to get a different item. Just see if they will put in for the cancellation versus me having to say out of stock. So yeah, it happens. Thankfully I'm pretty good about, as soon as I see a sale come in, I go straight to the other platform and delist it. So yeah, like I said, I use List Perfectly. We do have a code if you want to try that out. And then I don't know which program you use. I do feel like List Perfectly does auto delist the Poshmark items even if they have an active offer on them. I'm not like 100%, but I'm pretty sure. So I don't know if the one you're using is different or if it's since changed since that happened to you. But if you're like new to reselling and you didn't know, there is a trick on Poshmark. If you have any active offers, you would just go to the item, and then if you push edit, you can just change the size, the category or something, and then push it all the way through as if you're listing it again as the new incorrect size. And then that should take the offer away, the active offer. And then you can put it as not for sale or delete it from there. But yeah, if you have an active offer, it won't even let you delete the item on Posh. So that is always a bummer. This one's more of a personal question, which I'm happy to answer as well. So basically they're saying, hey Percy, thank you for adopting a cat. Question, is hubby allergic? Because we have mentioned that Chris is allergic to cats. Honestly, I'm not sure. Like even if he loves cats. He loves animals. He was happy to let me get the cat. He's happy to have the cat. He plays with it every night. It's very cute. Honestly, he hasn't really been like sneezing around the cat, which is pretty good. Like, I don't know if different cats have different sorts of things that could make you allergic or not. I'm not allergic to anything, so I don't really know. Chris is actually allergic, or at least seems to be allergic to a lot of things. Like even Reese, I think he's a little bit allergic to, but Reese is his best friend. So yeah, he may be allergic, but he's happy to have the cat, and Percy is doing great. He's becoming more and more playful every day, and he's like exploring more and more like on his own. We're not trying to force him in different areas, but we'll leave doors open and he'll start wandering. So it's really fun to watch him opening up. And then, how did you guys meet? You seem like high school or college sweethearts. So I guess sort of. I met him at church youth group, although I think he was probably like a senior or something at the time. He's about 2 years older than me. So yeah, I met him at youth group, and I feel like while we were at youth group together, like I didn't talk to him or anything, but then it was about to be my 18th birthday. So he had already kind of like moved on from the youth group at this point. And I was just like inviting anyone and everyone in my phone that I had their number to go bowling for my 18th birthday. And he responded that he could not come, but he would take me out to dinner at a later date. So yeah, he took me out to dinner. I wanted chicken wings, which I actually thought was cute because right before my birthday, the church was having some sort of like chicken wing dinner, and I don't think either of us could go for one reason or another. And so he remembered that I was sad about that and that I had been wanting chicken wings. So he suggested chicken wings, which I thought was really sweet. So, yeah, that's how we met. And that was like 3 days after my 18th birthday is what we consider our first date. And we've been together ever since. So like I said, going on 17 years here on April 26th is our anniversary. So yeah, I guess we are kind of high school sweethearts in that way. And I feel very lucky to have met him when I did. Let's do this one more. And this one is a multi-quantity question. And then I want to go do a little bit more work. I think I need to photograph some stuff in my office, so we'll head up there. So this one says, how many items do you list daily? So I kind of mentioned this more in the earlier questions today about like, I try to list just 100 per week. So not necessarily a daily goal, more of a weekly goal. And then how many times a week do you thrift? So this is just kind of random. Some days I'll thrift like every day. If I'm driving to town, like our house is a little bit like on the outskirts of town. So if I'm driving into town for any reason at all, it's likely I'm going to stop at least one thrift store. I feel like that that makes it worth it for me. Like, I'm sure I'm going to find 1 or 2 things to at least profit off of, and then I feel better about spending gas to get into town. So, but then sometimes I don't go at all. So, I mean, I would say at least once. I pretty much do at least 1 bins trip a week. And then, you know, I always have my therapy appointment at least once a week. So I'll usually stop into a thrift store when I'm in town for that. So I would say once to twice per week. It might seem like more, but it's really not. Do you have a minimum amount of inventory you thrift per week? Not really. So it's just kind of whatever I find. Honestly, if I have a whole bins day, even if I stay at the bins for like 4 hours, you guys saw my haul a few days ago, I usually find enough for a whole week's worth of inventory if I'm going to go there for several hours at the bins. Like, since I want to list 100 a week, I at least need to find 100 per week, but at the bins, that's super easy to do. So yeah. If I'm at a normal thrift, I'm more looking for faster sell-through rate items since I'm paying up for them. And I don't go into the store hoping to find 10 items or anything like that. I just hope to find at least a few that will sell quickly for good profit. Do you ever drive to Denver to thrift? I do sometimes. I haven't in a while. This year's been just seemingly really busy. A couple of my bins friends just this week have been trying to convince me to go up there. So maybe soon. That would be fun. Do you think Colorado Springs or Denver is better in terms of inventory? Since I don't go to Denver a lot, it's hard to say. I know my bins friends that want me to go, like the inventory they find up in Denver. And every time I've been to Denver, I find good stuff. But I also feel like I find great stuff every single week here at the bins and at the regular thrifts. So it's probably pretty similar in both areas. What are your favorite items to thrift? I love shoes and I love men's clothing. I don't know why. I just feel like men's clothing is easier. It's more standard fit. Like, a man knows if they're a size 36 pant, if they're a size large shirt, for the most part. And like, just the measurements seem easier and everything on those. Men don't necessarily complain as much, in my opinion, or try to return things as much. So, and usually they just pay your asking price. And what are your, do you ship daily? Okay, that was the last part of the question. So sometimes I ship daily, but about a year or 2 ago, I decided like I was feeling overwhelmed by just feeling like I'm stuck at the house every day because I have to do my shipping, because at that time I had my eBay store set up for 1-day shipping. So I decided to change it to 2-day shipping. And so now my schedule for shipping is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. However, if I'm already home and I'm not feeling pressured by it and I just want to get them out, I will. But I don't have to, which is great. All right, I'm back in my office. I have about an hour till the kids are out of school. So I'm going to work on photographing this whole pile here. We'll answer a few more questions and then I think we'll call it a day. All right, I think I got around 30 items photographed, so I'm very happy with that. Chris is gonna be back any minute with the boys, so I am gonna answer a few more questions for you guys. This first one I feel like is good just because it kind of goes off of what I was just doing here with the photographing. So it says, would you consider taking us viewers through your processing process? What do you physically do with an item after you show us what you picked? Such as, how do you prep, photo, bag? So this is the stuff I photographed is the stuff I showed you in a bin haul a couple days ago. It's just been sitting in my office since then, basically, in a pile. A lot of times so the process is not always the same. You can't see, but I'm sure you've seen before my rack. It's behind the camera right now. It's still full of other stuff from other bin hauls, different days, and a bunch of death pile items right now. So I couldn't even fit the new bin haul stuff on it. That's why I never even hung it up. Plus, I'm already out of hangers for that hang up on that rack. So yeah, I mean, today the way I'm doing my process was photographing all these items. I'm going to measure them later this evening. I've started measuring stuff with a what is it called, a yardstick, because I got a couple return requests based on my measurements are off. So now I'm at least just photographing them and adding the photos in as well. But it's hard to photograph them when they're on the wall here, like photograph the measurements, and yeah. So I just do that upstairs, and then I will then take all these items to my helper tomorrow. She's gonna bag them up for me over the next week, and I'll get them back from her. And then I will take them downstairs and put them away how you saw me do as part of the video today. So yeah, I'll get 50 to 100 items back, and then I'll get them listed and put away as soon as I can. Anything that's not listed goes in that draft bank corner section. So yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it. Even when the process is different, it's basically the same. Show you the item, photograph the item, measure the item, bag up the item, inventory the item. And then it just sits there until it sells. Next one says, do you promote your listings on either Poshmark or eBay? Thanks so much. Yes, so on eBay, I promote every single item at 3%. I don't pick and choose which ones may or may not need promoted. I feel like that would just be a waste of time for me personally. So 3%, that at least gets it slightly above anybody that's not promoting, and also slightly above, I think the lowest is 2% that you can promote. So it gives me a tiny boost above anyone that's just doing the bare minimum. And 3% is like hardly anything. Like a $100 item, that takes $3 from me to sell a $100 item. I think that's worth paying an extra $3 if it gets sold a little bit quicker. If you did not know, on eBay, you do not have to pay for your promoted listings unless it sells through it. So yeah, you're not prepaying anything, which I think is great. That's why I do it. On Poshmark, I've never used the promoted listings because you do have to prepay for them, and I'm not willing to do that. For the most part, everyone I've heard from has spent the money and did not see a return. So let me know if you think otherwise in the comments. You guys can discuss that. But yeah, I know nothing about really Poshmark listing or promoted listings other than what I've seen other people say on Instagram and on YouTube. This question says, I remember you had mentioned one of your videos you were planning to purchase boxes from Grainger to ship shoes. What size box would you use for shoes? Yes, that video, it's funny because I think that's the only time we actually did it, because I since have started selling a lot more clothing, in which case most everything goes in a poly mailer. So I don't know the exact size I was getting through Grainger, but I always go based off my favorite USPS priority shoebox, which is about 15 by 8 by 6. So I would say anything around those measurements within like an inch or so, either direction, is what I would go for. That fits most shoes, unless it's a really big men's shoe, probably over like a 13, or any like big boots. Those ones you might need a bit of a different size for. This is the last one I'm gonna do today. I think I got all of the ones off the video from when we first got Percy. That was when I first asked for questions. I have a ton more questions though that I got off Instagram, and you guys have asked some in other videos other than this one. So I think I'm gonna do another video like this, hopefully maybe next week or in the next couple weeks, because yeah, I've enjoyed doing it. I feel good about what I've got done between the questions, and I'm happy to have like some talking points, versus sometimes when I'm doing a video I'm like, well, I don't know what to say. So this is really helpful in what to say, and if I can help you guys with anything by just giving you an answer, then that's great. So okay, and then if I missed your question on, like if you left a question on this Percy video, some of them are like similar. So if I didn't put your exact question on the screen, but I answered a similar question, that's probably why. I'm not trying to leave anyone out on purpose or anything. So if you think I missed your question, comment it again on this video when you see it, and I will work on that for the next time. All right, so this one is, if you had to do it all over again, first, would you? I assume all over again means like, just like if I wasn't a reseller and I had to start over. Is that maybe what you mean? It's funny because I've thought about this before. Like, I'm always like, what if our basement floods and I lose all the inventory, or our house sets on fire, or who knows, like if we get a shed and it gets broken into or something like that, like what will I do? You know, that would really stink. But I definitely think I would do it all over again. And yeah, I mean, now I at least would be, it would be hard to like build up my inventory back to 2,000 active listings, because that took years, but it would be at least easier because I know exactly what to do now. I could probably pay different people to help me get there a little bit quicker if I needed to. So then the part 2 was, what would you do differently? My bestie's texting me. What would I do differently? I don't know. It's hard to say because I'm really like kind of happy with the way I've gotten to where I am today. Like, it started out really slow when I first was reselling. I was just kind of doing Kitizen, which doesn't even exist anymore. Let me turn off my sound. And I would only buy stuff to resell if I like could get it for like under $1 because I was too scared to lose money. And I was figuring $1, I'm not going to lose money if I only paid $1 probably. And I would not buy very much at once. So like if I bought like 10 things, I'd have to at least sell one and then be like, okay, I got my $10 back for the 10 things. And then, yeah. So I'm kind of still doing that, but like now with bins and stuff, and now I know I can kind of use the buy, sell, trade stores in my favor. I don't know. I really just like doing it this way. I've seen a lot of different business models. You know, a lot of the people I've met at the bins recently do whatnot, and that's a really great way to do it as well. I don't think it's for me, but I think that the way that they move product really quickly, make a profit, I think that's great too. So for me, I think I would pretty much do it the same. Low cost of goods, big store, yeah. But that's just me. And then it says, does networking with other resellers help or inspire me? Definitely, yeah. So like, when I first started going to therapy, I kind of realized I was like super lonely. Like, this reselling job is like super lonely. And I was always like, I'm still shy and anxious, but I feel like I'm doing better. And once I started going to bins more, seeing the same people over and over, eventually I would start kind of like talking to them, little chit chat here and there. And now like I've, just went to lunch with them, a couple of them the other day. So now I actually feel like we're friends, and the networking part is really nice. So it definitely inspires me to just have other people to be around and to like talk to. And even though we're all have different business models, yeah, it definitely inspires me. I get ideas from them. I'm sure they probably get different ideas from me. So I love networking. Do you think live selling will override eBay and Poshmark selling? Personally, I don't, just because I think that there's nothing like being able to just go into eBay, search up, I want some Nike shoes, women's size 9.5, what color I want, and then having a few results show up. Versus live selling is a lot of waiting around. Even if they like put the items, in there and like tell you what size and everything beforehand, you're still kind of like waiting for your item to go live, then you're bidding on it and you might get outbid, and that's frustrating. So I'm sure live selling is here to stay, and it's a really cool option. I don't know if I'll ever take part in it. I love watching my friends' whatnot shows and buying from them, but I personally don't think it's really for me. But I definitely don't think it's going to take the place of regular old reselling. I think that's always going to be here to stay as well. All right, friends. Well, that is all of the questions I have for us today. Like I said, if I missed your question or if you have a new question, please leave it in the comments of this video, and I will definitely get to those at some point. I think the video you're going to see after this will probably be a weekend what sold video, so stay tuned for that. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.